Hello everyone. Good afternoon. Please, can someone confirm that they can hear me? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I can hear you.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you much everyone for joining us. Welcome to the JIIPCC Mentorship and Internship Program. We are in week one of our first and second quarter for 2025. Thank you so much for joining us. Today is a very, very interesting day. We have quite a lot of things scheduled for this particular class. I can see some of our mentors have already joined in. Thank you so much, Sir Professor Francesco Lapenta. I can see you're already here with us on the call. Thank you so much for joining. I'm not sure if we have other mentors here yet, but I would assume that we have a few other mentors here on the call. Yes, I can also see Miss Buki Ogun Sakin. Thank you so much, Ma, for joining in. We'll go straight to dive into today's topic. We have quite a lot in front of us for today's class. Our topic for today is introduction to artificial intelligence and emerging technology, right? And I will just do well to introduce our mentors for today's class, or the mentors that we expect in today's class. Firstly, we are expecting Mr. Ridwan Badmos. Mr. Ridwan Badmos is a tech lawyer, multidisciplinary privacy professional, and CTO. His expertise extend across various specialized technology law domains encompassing artificial intelligence, blockchain, cloud computing, and other cutting-edge technology, being a certified information privacy technologist with the LAPP and an esteemed, sorry, with the LAPP and an esteemed Montrose Fellow of Privacy Technology. Ridwan is at the forefront of translating privacy regulations into functional application that handles user data, a significant void he diligently fills. Furthermore, his unique position in working across numerous complex projects bridges the gap between legal and technical terms, hereby harmonizing two distinct domains in this expansive technology landscape. Ridwan adores for the effective implementation of privacy and security and best practices is evident in his active involvement in shaping industry standards set forth by eminent organizations such as the National Institute of Standards and Technology, the Cloud Security Alliance, CSA, and the Center of Internet Security. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. We are happy to have you here with us. Okay, I'm not sure you are here, you're on the call yet, but we look forward to hearing from you. Next, our second mentor for today is Barrister Buki Ogosakin. Barrister Buki is the principal and head Satoshi at BBO Solicitors. She's she is an emerging tech lawyer, primarily working with clients in emerging technology areas such as NFTs, metaverse, crypto/blockchain, AI, as well as cybersecurity and data privacy. Buki is highly sought after in her clients by her clients due to her 17 plus years additional experience in strategy and project management. Buki is also currently a consultant with Interstellar Inc. and the Lagos Business School and volunteers as Director of Strategies at E4E. She is a smart con- contracts research fellow at Claros Decentralized Justice Fellow. She is also a certified NFT expert from the Blockchain Council, a certified international privacy professional, a member of the Nigerian Bar Association, and the International Association of Privacy Professionals. Thank you so much, Mark, for joining. We are happy to have you with us in class today. You are very, very welcome. Okay, please, can anyone hear me? It seems my network went off. Can anyone hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, all
We
right.
can hear you.
All right,
Yes,
moving
you can
on.
hear, but the volume is a bit low.
We can hear
Okay.
you loud.
Okay, so moving on, our next mentor is Mr. Gabriel Udo. Mr. Gabriel is a research fellow at the Robotics and Artificial Intelligence Law Society, RAILS, Berlin, with a strong passion for the intersection of AI law, ethics, and society. Also, he is a PhD candidate at the European University Vadrina, focusing on law and ethics of autonomous weapon systems. His expertise spans topics like robotics, smart city technologies, data colonialism, and privacy. And he is also proficient in Python programming and data analytics analysis. Sorry. Thank you so much, Mr. Gabriel, for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you with us in the artificial intelligence and technology space. Our fourth mentor for today is Miss Madalena Kogni. Ms. Madalena is a key member of AIQ's executive leadership team. As a general counsel at AIQ, she is responsible for the oversight of the legal governance and compliance departments, including business structure and operations. She is a part of the team that brought AIQ into fruition, drawing on her vast international experience as an advisor to public and private organizations. Magdalena specializes in legal frameworks of IT integration and implementation, strategic IT and business processes, outsourcing, outsourcing cloud services, data management, licensing, and support agreements. She holds a postgraduate degree in law and was accepted as member of the Law Society of England and Wales in September 2021 upon completion of her training at Sootsmiths LLP, where she was a member of the commercial technology and outsourcing team specializing in ICT and outsourcing projects. Thank you so much, Mark, for joining. We are happy to have you here with us in class. Our next mentor for today, I can see he's already on call, is Mr. Akin. Mr. Akin Agumbiade. Sorry, sir, if I did not pronounce your name very well. Mr. Akin is a PhD candidate at the Humanized Machine Intelligence at the AUN, founders of Bell AI Initiatives, manager, ethics and gender issue at Afro Leadership 100 Brilliant Women in AI Ethics 2022. Thank you so much, sir, Mr. Akin, for joining us. We are happy to have you here in session. Thank you so much. Okay, another mentor that we are having here with us on call that is already here in class is Mr. or Professor Francesco Lapenta. Professor Francesco Lapenta is the founding director of the John Cabot University Institute of Future and Innovation Studies. Currently, he is also a Mozilla Ford Research Fellow at the technical editors of the IEEE P700 7006 standard on personal data artificial intelligence agents. His research focuses on emerging technologies, innovation technology, governance, and standardization processes, ethics and impact assessments, and future scenario analysis. He holds a PhD in sociology from the University of London, joint supervision, Goldsmith College, and the London School of Economics. The PhD was awarded a research grant by the ESRC, Economic and Social Research Council UK. He works as an associate prof in the New Media Study and Business Innovation at the Department of Communication, Business and Information Technologies at RUC University, Denmark, and assistant professor from 2007 to 2009, visiting professor at New York University, 2011 to 2012, and John Cabot University, 2019. He has organized many international conferences in the United States, Latin America, and Europe, and participated in and organized countless academic and public events worldwide, influencing the debates on emerging technologies. He has for years served on the executive board of the IVSA Association. His latest work includes the influential book Research Methods in Service
And it's
Innovation.
you don't need to read the whole thing. It's
way too long. So I think they get the gist.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. I'll be rounding up shortly. Let me just finish this last sentence, in which
Yeah.
he explores the use of future-oriented scenarios analysis for technology and innovation research. Thank you so much, sir, for joining
Thank
us.
you.
We're happy to have you in class.
Yeah.
I think that is all our mentors for today. Thank you so much for joining us for this wonderful session. So in this particular class for today, what we'll be doing is that we'll be taking first presentations from the mentees. No, sorry, let's say presentation from the mentees, presentation from our mentors. We'll try as much as possible to be very, very time conscious. Our mentors, please, you have 15 minutes each for your presentation, just to give us a background introduction into today's class. And then after the mentors presentation, we'll be taking presentation from the mentees. We'll get feedback from our mentors, and then we'll go into our question and answer segments. So we would like to start off firstly with Professor Francesco. Sir, please, the floor is yours. We want to hear from you in the next 15 minutes, your introduction into the topic for today. You're welcome, sir.
All right. Thank you very much for the introduction. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, good, because I had a problem with my computer, so I'm connected with my phone. So first of all, thank you very much for having me once more. I've been collaborating with this program for now a number of years. I think this is the second year. And I'm incredibly proud of the work that you're all doing with this program. I think it's an amazing initiative, and I'm glad it's successful and that you're continuing doing that. And I'm really honored to be part of it. Now, what is interesting is that despite how brief my participation to the program has been, is relatively short time. Well, it's 2 years, a little bit over 2 years, I think. It's pretty amazing what and how much has changed in this brief period of time. I remember when I first gave my contribution to this program, the general condition of artificial intelligence and the world were very, very different. And so what has happened in the past few years and what is happening in the past few months and weeks is an incredibly dynamic and momentous shift in innovation in technology, specifically the evolution of artificial intelligence, specifically, and in geopolitics, as you know. So many things are changing very fast. But there's a number of considerations that is important for me to have, because I'm not familiar with your level of expertise. I all assume you have a background in law. I assume that you've been very proactively using AI in the recent past. I don't know what platforms you've been using, but what I can tell you is that I have been using ChatGPT for the past 5 years. So that is 3 years more than the average person on the planet. Meaning that I was one of the beta testers of ChatGPT for several years before they went public. So I've seen the evolution of that system from the inside, even before it became public. I was working in the field of AI, and I've been working in the field of AI since 2009, so way before it started to be that popular. And the reason why I started to work in it back then is because I understood that it was coming, that the technological conditions were maturing for AI to be developed and to be available. That was in 2009. And so I misjudged the time because it took longer than expected. But my main concern, and the reason why I started to work in artificial intelligence in 2009, have not changed. I understood it was incredibly consequential. I understood it was a technology that would have both incredible opportunities, incredible risks. And I decided that I wanted to focus on the risks. I immediately had the intuition that there needed to be an elaboration of the implications of the development and use of artificial intelligence. So I started to work on AI and ethics in 2009, 2010. And the way I did it, it's relevant to you because basically I first went to Japan for a number of months, and then I went to the States in Boston for another number of months because I wanted to see how these two regions of the world were working on the idea of artificial intelligence and robotics. Because I had the intuition that the cultural connotations and the way in which they were conceiving AI systems were different. And I was absolutely correct. The way in which Japan has been elaborating the idea of artificial intelligence was profoundly different from the realities I found in Boston. So even back then in 2009, I had the intuition of the cultural connotations of artificial intelligence and the fact that there wasn't simply one form of development of artificial intelligence, but there were possible many parallel lines. But I was aware that one would come to dominate the market because those are the strategies that have been informing the development of technologies for the past 70 years. So basically, since the First and Second World War, what really happened was the establishment of a model where you had several actors that were competing with one another for the definition of whatever emerging technology. And this competition was framed in terms of standards, technological standards, that were competing with one another. And at one point, one of these standards would win the battle by being the one adopted by most people and putting all the others basically in the bin. That has been true for many technological standards. I don't want to go through them, but you can go back to the 50s, and there's been many of these battles. Few are or were so consequential as the one that we are experiencing now. So we are in the middle, in the midst of another battle for the definition of standards or the standard of dominant AI systems. And the problem with this model that has been established since the 50s is that not only has technological repercussions, but it also has very strong ethical repercussions. So let me explain a little bit how I see it. Basically, what happens is that since the First and Second World War, after the wars, in the world, there's been the emergence of some technopoles areas, geographical areas, in which you had a high concentration of people, engineers, working on technology in general. So, for example, in the States, you had California, which you're certainly familiar with. And in China, there's Xuanshan, and there's other areas, basically. But the 4 or 5 dominant areas for the evolution of technologies in the past 70 years have been more or less localized in specific geopolitical position and in specific areas. Now, why I'm pointing that out is that because there's a strong connection between how a technology is developed and the culture within which the technology is being conceived, evolved, transformed, brought to the market, and finally imposed by market strategies. Now, to let you understand what I mean with these cultural connotations and why they're relevant, look at the grander scheme of things. If you look at modernity, one of the key things that happened in modernity was the move from rural areas to big urban areas. Now, big urban areas, they have been in the past several centuries moving at a different pace from rural areas. So big cities are normally conceived as centers of innovations, the areas where innovation is not only designed, but also is adopted much earlier than other areas. So, for example, you have, of course, areas in California, you have the big cities in the West, and in these cities, they become cultural hubs of innovation where specific technologies were adopted and were used and were embedded in social lives and behaviors of people and transformed. But what is interesting about this process is that over time, you had a process where these technologies were basically designed for people in specific areas and to solve problems of people that lived in those specific areas, for example, in big cities. No, that left the vast majority of people that lived in rural areas always struggling to catch up. So you already have this distinction that is you have this distinction that is not only based on where you live, if you live in Africa, in Europe, or in the States. This difference is transversal. Urban areas adopt this technology early, and increasingly, in a virtuous cycle, you had the cities that were early adopters of these technologies, but they also were the ones that were shaping the technology for their own problems. So most of the technologies that have been designed are based on fulfilling the criteria of the needs of a specific group. Now, this becomes specifically relevant when you move from the simple division of urban centers and rural areas, when you look at the world as a whole, and you will certainly see that certain areas of the world are being served by technological innovation more than others. And needless to say, certain centers in the West have been served by technological innovation more than other geopolitical areas. So if you take the global south with its many rural areas, it can be seen as an area that has been not only late in this process of adoption, so much so that you have many people around the world, I think 1 billion people yet, that don't have electricity. You constantly, for example, in Africa, experience loss of electricity for the system during the day or for very long periods of time. And in the countryside, you have little to no access to electricity. So what happened is that there's been this incredible gap forming between specific urban areas that have been developing and adopting these technologies. So let's call them techno hubs or techno centers, that have been dominating not only the way in which the technology has been innovated, but also in the way in which that technology has been protected and controlled. Because parallel to the innovation process, you had the evolution of a legal system that's been designed to maintain the advantage for these technopoles. So the legal system is being designed and conceived so to create kind of barriers of adoption, if you wish, and these legal barriers comes in two dimensions. One is that certain areas of the world cannot easily adopt the technology without paying a price or being subjected to having to adopt specific technologies. Or two, certain areas of the world didn't have the ability to participate to the innovation process in the same way because they didn't have the legal skills to protect their own intellectual products. So there's two parallel dimensions that have gone together. On one side, you had the actual innovation, the technological innovation, but on the other side, you also had the legal systems that have been protecting the dominant actors that were and are designing this innovation. So this process has been very detrimental. It's been to the advantage of a small minority that has been controlling the way is developed to solve specific problems of specific people. And also they've been controlling the way in which this technology can be used by creating these guardrails which are legal. So you are in a unique position. This is what I keep saying every time in these classes, because you being mostly located in Africa, not only are subject to these socio-economic dynamics, you are forced to use technologies that are designed somewhere else for other people's needs. You are in a position of having to pay more than other people have to access these technologies. If you make a comparison about how much it costs for you to have a certain amount of data, for example, and how much it costs to me, let me give you an example. I pay €9 to have 330 gigabytes of data traffic on my mobile. So 330 gigabytes, they cost me €9. I'm not familiar with I mean, I cannot really transform that quantity in local currencies for you, but maybe you're familiar with how much €9 are worth in your own countries. But also you should see how relative to the cost of living that amount is. So to give you an example, I pay €9 for 330 gigabytes, but one coffee here costs €1.40. So basically 5 cups of coffee are the equivalent of 330 gigabytes. Now, so these dynamics, which I'm sure it's a crazy amount in your countries. So this is only to say that this system has been constantly biased to create high levels of viscosity to adoption in developing countries, but also to have a very discriminatory bias in the way in which the system is designed to cater to the needs of a specific community. Now, this has been common, but now it's becoming crucial because this is affecting the way in which artificial intelligence is being developed today. So you're probably very much familiar with the concept of bias in artificial intelligence, the fact that, for example, the dominant language is English or other languages, but African languages are not that represented. So this is the kind of the half-empty glass story. But it's extremely important to know that this form of, let's call it technological colonialism is the term that is normally used. The fact that specific centers create a relation where other countries are forced to use their technology, and this technology take advantage of that necessary use to exploit access and to collect, for example, data, which are incredibly potent for the development of artificial intelligence. And you have a gap in legislation. You have countries in Europe where the protection of personal data is incredibly strong, and you have a total different position in Africa, where the legislation about data protection is a lot more scattered and is a lot more divided. Of the idea of protecting data, the need to protect data, the need to ask for fairness in the designing of artificial intelligence systems get catered to different communities. So although now things are changing, because in Africa there's been several attempts to create a unified front to demand these transformations and to demand more fairness in the development of AI systems, I would say that you're still a long way from achieving what I call a fair deal in the evolution of artificial intelligence. So this is where your role comes into play, because you're in a position, in my view, as lawyers, to be at the forefront of this conversation, pushing for these regulations, pushing your country for regulating data, for example, for pushing for your country to create legislation, both within the nations, but within the African region, to push all the actors that are creating these technologies to have obligations in the way in which they develop these technologies so that they are inclusive. Now, lawyers are really in a unique position. First of all, because you have the understanding on how to create this legislation by looking at existing legislations. But this is the half full glass. The paradox is that artificial intelligence is offering incredible opportunities to lawyers to level with much more strong legal systems. One of the main reasons why the adoption of specific technologies has been so lopsided is because the legal system in specific areas was incredibly strong, and legal systems in other countries didn't have the skill set, didn't have the knowledge, didn't have the tools, or didn't have the economy to compete with these systems. And the paradox is that artificial intelligence is leveraging this gap, offering you lawyers the ability to get a better knowledge of the other legal systems and how to challenge them. So two things that I always encourage students in your group is, first of all, is to be aware of this gap and how it's transformed by legal systems. Two, to take hold of the legal systems within your country and to be very vocal to develop legislation to protect the systems. For example, in the sphere of digital and artificial intelligence, it's all about data and the collection of data, and now the data are both used or transformed by AI systems to cater to different communities. For example, pushing more to get more local languages to be included in AI systems that are developed elsewhere as a condition for these systems to operate in your market or to get your data. And many other forms of actions that are extremely important that you're in a position to develop. Furthermore, you also need to be a little bit at the forefront of these elaborations. For example, to know that there's an increasing number of emerging technologies that will have an effect for you. I would say that probably the two most important are medicine and law. Certainly, the possibilities of artificial intelligence in medicine are incredibly important worldwide, but they're specifically important in developing countries and emerging countries. It's incredibly important that these systems are designed to support, for example, access to distributed healthcare in ways that is not possible, for example, in certain regions of the world. And it's incredibly important that local communities push for the integration of these tools and the ability to use these tools based on needs in local communities, not based on the needs and designs of these niche markets that I was discussing before. So I know that this is just an introduction and you will have the entire course to discuss this. I'm going to try not to take too much time. But I think that the African region and the global South in general, they have both very specific challenges, but also incredible opportunities. The specific challenges are those that you're very familiar with. The fact that there's still this incredible gap in the adoption of technologies and the way they can reshape societies and communities. The incredible gap that is in terms of legal protections within your countries for the use of data that are collected and all other kind of systems that protect intellectual property. I think one of the strongest bias I've ever experienced in the West, I can tell you from this area, I don't claim to have much knowledge of the African region. I have some knowledge, but of course I don't want to claim that I have an in-depth knowledge. But one thing that I know from my visits to Africa is that one bias is that most of the innovation happens somewhere else. I think Africa is absolutely one of the most rich regions of the world, way beyond what people can imagine. And so is the amount of innovation and creativity that is regularly created and applied in the African region. So the only gap that exists is not so much in terms of assets and in terms of ability to innovate. I think that the biggest gap is in your ability to protect your innovation and to get that innovation from the conception phase, where you are thinking of these local solutions, most times way more sustainable than the solutions that are found elsewhere, because the solutions that are designed in California or designed in the West, they have the necessity to create a dependency. So they're designed in a way that once adopted, create a dependency from the company that is somewhere else. While many of the innovation processes that are happening in Africa are way more sustainable than the ones that are designed elsewhere, because are based on local solution, local access, local knowledge, local needs, and local problems. So you have what is the future of sustainability is this micro development of innovation systems versus the macro monopolistic forms that exist now. And one of the key tools that we are experiencing now is the possibility of leveraging artificial intelligence to allow this transformation from macro centralized design and innovation to micro decentralized forms of innovation that are sustainable because they're based on local needs and local resources, creating a much more virtuous and sustainable future, basically. And one of the key leverage in this process of transformation is artificial intelligence, and the way in which it's going to be designed to cater to the needs of the small communities rather than, as usual, the big technopoles and techno centers. And one of the key ways to operate is for you personally, as lawyers, to imagine the single battle that you want to take, and to take it in two realms, to take it in two places. One, convince your local, your community, your nation, your government of the need to protect that specific area. And two, to be bold enough to bring that view and to push for this decentralization and to push for Africa design, for localized communities designs, and for the protection of the intellectual property and creativity of the local designers. And the first steps happen with law, because your ability to challenge the global systems can be basically in this time, and this is the opportunity, based on your ability to use AI to leverage and balance the power gap that exists today. So in my way, this in my view, there's two dimensions. One is that of great challenges, but the other one is that of great opportunities. And I continuously believe, and that's why I picked this program specifically. I've been thinking, how can I make the most impact for this transformation? And I immediately thought that lawyers and not technologists and not innovators are the ones in the African region that have the most power right now to create this balance. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for that wonderful introduction from your end. I'm sure our mentees really were able to get so much from the vast knowledge you had to share in this, I think, 20 minutes thereabout. Thank you so much, sir. We really, really do appreciate. So we'll be moving on to our next mentor for today to just also give us an introduction into the topic. And we'll be taking introduction from Mr. Ridwan Badmos. I think we have 3 mentors on call currently. So after we're done with Mr. Ridwan Badmos, I will move straight over to Ms. Buki Ogunsakin. So, Mr. Ridwan, please, the floor is yours. We'd like to hear from you in the next few minutes on your introduction into the topic for today, and we'll move on with the rest of class. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us.
Yeah, thank you
Mr.
very much.
Ridwan.
Dennis, yeah, I hope you can all hear me.
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation again, and I'm very excited. It's always a pleasure to to speak with mentees on this platform. I mean, I've really learned a lot again from the prof, just like we had last on the last edition last year. So it's always a pleasure to learn from his wealth of knowledge, and I also acknowledge and recognize the presence of my colleague or senior colleague Buki Ogunshaki. So going straight to the topic, because I don't have much time, I think I'll be speaking on this for the next very short period of time, probably 10 minutes or thereabout, as I would have to leave in a few minutes. So looking at the topic, and it's been a very large or extensive area to talk about. And looking at the other topic that's the mentors are going to be discussing in the course of the program. So I think my talk would be a kind of guidance in terms of what the mentees could how the mentees could actually approach this area, because I know we're talking about AI ethics and emerging technologies. And I believe that we will be going deep into some areas of, we have, compared to the previous times that we've had this program, I know we have we have many areas, or probably two or multiple areas kind of co-joined on this particular program. So I know we won't be having that opportunity to discuss or to go deep into AI ethics, responsible AI, just like we had in the previous edition. So what I'll be doing is giving you some bit of guidance that would help mentees to kind of find their way in this huge field of AI ethics, especially AI ethics. And then when we're talking about emerging technologies, we're talking about a lot of different technologies generally. From Web3 to blockchain to even cloud computing and other areas of IoT, cybersecurity included, other areas as well. So talking about AI ethics, I think where we as lawyers really need to, because I believe most of the mentees are actually lawyers. I believe where we really need to start from is where the Professor Labenta actually took it from, which is the historical developments of technology generally, and of course AI as well. And I don't think it is going to be something new. It's going to sound novel to everyone here if we say that the word AI was somehow coined in the year 1956, and AI is not a new word, or it's not a new area of innovation or technology. So we really need to understand the historical development of AI, to also understand AI ethics, because AI ethics is a very, when we're looking at AI ethics, it's actually a very wide area that extends extends across many areas, including law, technology, social interactions, or social norms and rights. So when we're looking at AI ethics, I think one of the things that's really needs to come to mind is we're looking at ethical frameworks or ethical principles. And the definition of ethics actually comes from, I think, moral principles. And the development of AI ethics, or when we talk about ethical principles, we'll always hear about ethical principles of AI, things like that. They're actually gotten from values and norms. So I just want to give those quick interconnection between how, between AI and AI ethics, and how we come about AI ethics, and how to really kind of learn this area so as to make huge impacts in the field and in the society at large. And so when we're looking at AI ethics, I think one of the things that we really need to understand are the values and norms that kind of makes up AI ethics. And when we're talking about ethical frameworks, especially when it has to do with AI, we could actually have different frameworks or different thoughts about AI ethics. So it's wider than, and that's why we we tend to hear more about responsible AI now, responsible AI, trustworthy AI, or ethical AI. And so all these especially these three terms that I've mentioned, we have all the themes that's used to talk about building AI that is responsible, so to say, or that does not do harm, just to put it that way. So we have a lot of discussions around these different terms to kind of understand how AI is being developed and how it's going to be used for the benefits of human at large. So I think one of the things that lawyers or the mentees really need to do is to really understand the interrelationship between all these terms. So as I said, the foundational aspect of all this discussion, ethical AI or AI ethics, is ethics in AI, or let's say AI ethics. And I've said that where we are actually going to take this from is values and norms, and that could also differ from different communities or different societies. So the ethics that's going to define the development and design, development, and deployment of AI in Africa could actually be different from maybe the West. So that's the reason I believe Professor Lapenta was also making a key point regarding Africa as well. And another thing, so to make AI, before I moved into to responsibility, I talk about some other things that I think meant to get a comprehensive understanding of this area, is that when we're looking at ethical AI, sorry, I lost my thoughts there, but let me just go straight to, so what I actually wanted to, I think the point I'm trying to make is that we have the theoretical aspects and the practical aspects of AI as well. I mean, in terms of ethical AI, where we're trying to build and develop AI that's responsible. So ethical AI most times has to do with the theoretical aspects, where we're talking about different thoughts about how to build AI responsibly. And when we're going into how it's going to be used in real life or in the field, then we tend to kind of develop those ethical AI. We build them into responsible, should I call them responsible principles, so to say, or trustworthy principles that engineers and lawyers and all other stakeholders building AI tools or systems would kind of employ, to ensure that the AI products that they are building is ethical and responsible. So, but the first thing, of course, the first stage is actually the ethical framework. A company has to understand, even though it is theoretical to a large extent, they need to have an understanding of the ethical framework that they're using to develop all the principles that they'll be kind of adopting adopting to kind of build their products. So when we talk about response, so it's very important as well for lawyers and the mentees to understand what responsible AI and trustworthy AI actually entails. So, and that is why it's going to be important for us to look at frameworks. I think that's a very good place to start from if you want to understand how to build ethical AI. So one place to start from to understand how everything kind of clicked together is we have the NIST AI framework, and we have everybody also about the EU AI Act as well. So this, I think I'll just stop on these two major. Okay, and then I think the third one is ISO 42001 for the development of responsible AI as well. So I think these three frameworks are quite important for mentees, for listeners to kind of understand, to approach in order to kind of get ahead of what's all the should I say Olabalu is all about in terms of how the how the field is structured. I mean, in terms of how people are discussing AI ethics and responsible AI. And so I think I want to draw a kind of allusion to or allude to a different area. I mean, if you're like, because one of the areas that is quite important when we're talking about AI ethics, responsible AI, is privacy as well. So when we're talking about privacy and data protection, we always talk about, I mean, everybody would have had, most people here would have heard about privacy by design, you would have heard about privacy engineering. So when we're talking about AI and responsible AI, it's just like you talking about how should I put this? You practicalizing, if you want to implement privacy in the real sense, you have to kind of adopt privacy by design and then privacy engineering. So that is kind of you operationalizing the privacy principles of data protection principles, okay? And so the same thing goes with AI. So if you want to implement or operationalize AI or AI ethics, so to say, you have to understand responsible AI, trustworthy AI, and these principles that I hope we're going to go deep into. I know there's a time we're going to be talking about bias and fairness, so we're going to be talking a lot about the principles that's related with these different areas. So I really look forward to that and going deeper into this. So if you want to learn, so to round up and talk about all the areas, because I mentioned platforms or resources that could help you understand, responsibly in terms of if you want to really hard work, do the actual work in terms of building AI products that are responsible and that complies with regulations generally. So I mentioned 3 major frameworks that you might need to kind of read. So to measure that again, I'm talking about when I talk about the NIST, that's the National Institute for Standards and Technology, AI, responsible AI, or trustworthy. We call AI risk management framework, sorry. And then we have the EU AI Act, and then we have the ISO for 2001. Then if you want to learn a lot about AI ethics, I think one resource that is quite important is you can go to ethicsinai.smoke. I think that's one resource that would really go deep into explaining how we came about the term ethical AI or AI ethics. And then another resource that I think is very important, because we have a lot of resources out there that will help you to understand these areas very well. But then I just want to kind of highlight some of those resources that has been very, very beneficial generally, especially in terms of these specific areas that we're talking about. And then when you're talking about emerging technology, including AI, I think another resource that is very huge, because it's you could get different resources from these. You could even get the opportunity to probably intern with that organization. I think All Tech is Human, so you can browse All Tech is Human online as well and see all the different resources they have that would help you in terms of building your knowledge regarding outsourcing. It's not just about responsible technologies. So I think these 2 areas. So can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you now, sir. I wasn't hearing you.
I was actually rounding up already, so I think I will be stopping there. And if you would allow me to take my leave now. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you've been able to pick 1 or 2 important things from my discussion. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, sir, for that introduction. Mr. Ridwan was able to highlight a few things that was quite important to today's discussion. And we have another mentor who is also a very big professional in this field, and I'm sure she would do everything possible to try to tie, or everything that, from the first mentor to the second mentor has spoken about, and that is Barrister Buki. Barrister Buki, thank you so much, Ma, for joining us again. The floor is yours, Ma, for your introduction into the topic of today. I also want to encourage mentees to get ready for their presentation. Please, your presentation time is 7 minutes. So once Barrister Buki is done with her introduction, we'll get to call you on to have your presentation, and then we'll have feedbacks from our mentors. So Barrister Buki, Ma, the floor is yours.
All right. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you loud.
All right, awesome. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depending on where you're logged in from. My name is Buki Ogusha. It's great to be here today. I always enjoy having these sessions with the organization. I also enjoyed the presentation by Prof. and Ridwan as well. So just to acknowledge them on work well done. So I'm just going to go right ahead. I think we've done the introduction before. We don't have that much time. Let's see here. So we're exploring the ethical and legal challenges of AI and emerging technologies in this, rapidly evolving world. And I use those terms really loosely because honestly, within the last 2-3 years, we've evolved so quickly, and that helps us to try and imagine how the next 5 years will be. A lot of things are going to change even more rapidly. And with the inclusion of more technology like quantum computing and others, things will even become much faster. There's 5G, there are IoTs, there is quantum, like I said. So a lot is going on. So a sort of introduction into AI and emerging technologies. I primarily specialize in emerging technologies, which includes AI, Web3, blockchain, crypto, IoTs, nanotech, drone tech, quantum computing as well. So it's a very, very interesting world of any technology that is emerging. Is just where I basically specialize in. So I wanted to start with the definition of AI, but based on the fact that you guys are doing your presentation, I'm sure you have your own definitions as well. So AI is just the mimicking or simulation of human intelligence by systems. And this, they've touted Google as saying that they're wanting to create the next or the first digital god. So you can imagine what is in the mind of researchers and scientists and developers within the area. And then emerging technologies is any technology that is emerging. It's new, brand new, it's areas, a lot of R&D going on in those specific areas, technology that is not widely adopted yet. And that's the reason why they're called emerging technologies. I won't be able to touch on the brief history and evolution due to time, but what the system started with AI has been from the 40s, basically. And it started from creating thinking systems to problem-solving systems to machine learning to deep learning that we're in now. And like I said, we're just at the beginning days of the technology. And I put an interactive poll here. So while I'm in the comment section, you can just type out what technology do you think will have the biggest impact on the legal profession? I know a lot of people are new to AI, but some others can have, different points of view. So you can just type in the chat box. Is it AI or is it blockchain or the metaverse or quantum computing or extended reality? And extended reality is the umbrella of which we have augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. So you can just, type what you think. So I put a use case here, example of AI in legal research. So there's one for us to check out, which is Ross Intelligence. And what it is an AI that specializes in legal research and legal information. So we're saying that AI is going to touch all industries. There's no industry that's not going to be impacted by AI. And for us in the legal space, we're looking at how is AI impacting on our, day-to-day as lawyers. And you find that systems like Ross Intelligence, are recreating legal research where you are able to input the information. The AI model or system is trained on specifically case law and legal information, and is able to spit out, to you information on whatever legal research or case study or case law that you're working on. So it's quite interesting for us to take a few stabs at some of this legal research. And it's very interesting to know that they say data is the new oil. The other day, I was trying to calculate how much Google is making. Your Google email is full, your photos you are paying to Google, and you can imagine how many people have Gmail accounts in the entire world. You can just try to imagine how much they're making on a daily basis based on data, data collection, data transferring, and all of that. It's a lot of money that is being plugged into the data systems. And like I said, we're beginning days. We're going to see more innovations, more building within the space, where soon even the law firms are going to be, create their own systems. People are already doing that. Law firms are already creating their back-end systems, using AI or some sort of simulation or subscription of an AI system already. And then they are inputting their own information, creating their own systems. And soon people will begin to subscribe for this, the use of these systems. And so it's just an ongoing process. Another case study or use case is blockchain in smart contracts. If we don't know, I'm sure we know what smart contracts are because we've done some research already. Some people tout smart contracts as the new way of entering into contracts, the way of using code to enforce contracts. That's the way to go. A lot more systems are going to be built on that as we go ahead, in our legal careers. Already we have some sort of quasi-blockchain system for the stamping for Nigerian Bar Association. It may not be completely built at the back end on blockchain yet, but at least the beginning days, it has some semblance of blockchain infrastructure. And this is only the beginning. We're going to see a lot more of that. So smart contracts in blockchain will become more predominant as we go along. Speaking about ethical challenges, Prof has talked about this. Ridwan also, spoke about the ethical challenges in AI systems. What are the key ethical issues? We know that the first and most popular is bias and fairness. How AI algorithms can perpetuate bias. We're using hiring tools, for instance. A lot more people are working remotely. If a system is using AI, are they giving, for instance, white people the same opportunity as Blacks on the hiring tools? Because AI is able to decipher certain information. So what kind of system is being built? What is the bias ratio, which means that you need to start auditing your AI systems. I don't want to go too deep into the technicalities of that, but the key consideration is to ensure that AI systems are not biased in their approach, in their processes, and in the way that they're, churning out the information that is needed from them. The second is privacy concerns. There's a lot of talk and even cases in court currently on the process of data collection for AI systems. So how are these models being developed? We know that they say garbage in, garbage out. So whatever you feed the system is what you bring out. But how is the system collating that information? Some of it is gotten from the public web, public information. Some is proprietary, private organizations, they're getting that information from them. There's a lot of web scraping, certain tools and software that are used to scrape the entire internet, even some from the dark web, crowd sources as well, and then synthetic information, which is information that is created by AI systems. So it's a lot of mixed information that is going into these AI systems. However, are we having sensitive data as part of this information? Are we having personal identifiable information as part of this information that is going into this AI system? This is a cause of concern. And so those are some of the challenges that we have. And again, there's surveillance in AI systems. So as far back as 2005, we already knew that a lot of the tech giants were creating digital clones of people. And right now, I'm sure each and every one of us know that even our conversations, by the time you interact with social media platforms and a few other websites, it basically creates a digital clone of you. It starts to know what you like. It starts to know the kind of things that you may be interested in because it's algorithms and they're using sophisticated systems to create a perception of who you are, your persona online. And so, this also follows you with different cookies around where it is that you go. If you want to know the information that Google has on you now, you can easily go search for this information on your settings. It knows where you are going. There's GPS tracking. It knows the websites that you visit. It has an idea of your voice. It knows how you look like because you can see even from Google Photos, it's able to, from looking at different images, to match and search out the images of the specific people within your Google Photos. So it's a lot of surveillance that is going on within AI systems. And so it can match your facial recognition anywhere. And this calls for privacy concerns. There's accountability issues. Who is responsible when AI makes a mistake? When there's an error in the system that has been created, who is responsible? And then, of course, safety and oversight. We have this article on AI risks, and the AI risks are different grades. So there are low-level risks and there are high-level risks of AI systems. So, and because of that, the high-level systems need to ensure that they are properly assessed for risk. And whatever, the higher the risk, the more sophisticated the systems and the processes that you need to put in place, the higher audits that you need to have with your systems and the like. So you need to do a lot of risk assessment, data governance, and of course, regulatory compliance, as both other speakers before have alluded to as well. And so what we're looking for is responsible AI and trustworthy AI within our systems. And I put a scenario here to say, if an AI tool is used by a law firm that recommends a biased legal strategy, who is responsible? The regular example people use is the autonomous vehicles to say if a vehicle, being manned by robotics and AI or autonomous system, makes an error and, somebody gets injured, who is liable? But in our case, we use a legal strategy, biased legal strategy. Is it developer or the firm or the lawyer? Who do we feel would accept that responsibility? We need to look at these things, especially when we are creating our systems. It's very important for us. Let me just take a look at the previous comments. Okay, AI, quantum computing. Okay, just 3 people commented on that. Okay, so for instance, so with this scenario, who do we think should take the liability? Some allude that it should be the developers of the system who are building the system that should be responsible when AI makes an error. And some feel that, it should be the person who is using it at that point in time. So we're still beginning this, but a lot of allusion is to the fact that the developers have a high responsibility of creating systems that are safe, for people to use. So we're going to go to the legal frameworks and regulations. Read1 covered this a bit. Overview of global legal frameworks. You can go and take a look at this later. The EU AI Act is the most robust act currently or regulation currently. We have the GDPR. We have the NIST framework. We have principles, the UNESCO recommendations. We have the DSA Act. In Canada, we also have the Canadian Artificial Intelligence and Data Act. So there are lots more propositions of acts that are going on. In Nigeria, we have the NDPA, and then we have the National AI Strategy for now. In some cases, we use the Copyright Act as well, depending on what you're looking at within your AI and emerging technology systems. But however, it has been stated that there are certainly gaps. We don't have an AI Act yet in Nigeria. We need to work towards that. We need to have a law regarding AI accountability and ethics, especially for people who are building the systems, and they need to have some sort of responsibility that is attached to building of systems. So here I put another use case, but we don't have time, so I'm just going to skip that. We're going to go to additional recommendations, the fact that we do need additional recommendations. And for this, we need a lot more people working in the area of emerging technologies and AI. The deficit that we have in Nigeria, we have a lot of people. However, with these specific ecosystems, lawyers and individuals who are working within the space, we need a lot more people. So that's why you are all here today, learning more about this, and so to begin to participate in such systems. Wow. Am I still connected? I hope so.
Yes,
Yes,
you
ma'am,
are.
you are.
Okay, awesome. I thought I went off. Okay, so the next is opportunities, use cases in the legal profession. There are so many opportunities, and I'm always excited about talking about opportunities within the space. The first is AI in legal research, building of systems, because I work with a lot of startups and tech organizations within the space. A lot of people are thinking of building equivalent systems, but with the African element. So using Nigerian law, using Nigerian languages, there is a lot more opportunity within the space for AI legal research. And so we can, look at exploring that as well. And this ends up building stronger legal processes for us. Law firms can do this, or tech organizations can do this as well. There's also opportunity in blockchain in contracts. Like I said, a lot of people are saying that smart contracts are the new way of enforcing contracts. People need to learn about smart contracts, how they function, and how they can build backend systems, that make use of smart contracts, to execute different things. The land registry is looking at building blockchain technology so that our COOs will now be on the blockchain or in form of NFTs, non-fungible tokens, or some sort of digital tokens. And so if we create a lot more of this within the space, we'll find that enforceability can now be done through code. That doesn't remove the responsibilities of lawyers or lawyers, but it just enhances it, all around. There's also metaverse in dispute resolution. We already have arbitration, which is, working really well. It's much better than the slower systems of the courts that we have. However, when we have disputes in the metaverse, who are the people that are going to, hear cases within the metaverse, especially when people are interacting from different parts of the world? You can be in a metaverse system and you have 10 different people from 10 different parts of the world. When they enter into a dispute, what exactly is the solution at that point in time? One person in Nigeria can't fly to Turkey to have a dispute resolved. And so it's more affordable. Since there's a lot more virtual interaction, there can also be virtual dispute resolution. So there's a lot of opportunity in that area. There's also XR, which is extended reality litigation. I put the picture here of a judge in a US court in Louisiana who, I'm sure we've seen the news on it. There are several articles on it that the judge wore, VR headset to be able to witness the crime. And the way VR headset works, it takes you into a virtual world. So you feel like you are actually present, in the space of whatever it is that is happening around you. And so that is breakthrough technology using XR in litigation. So there's a lot more opportunity there. For instance, I'm not aware that this is currently being done in Nigeria. And imagine that if it started, a lot more people will begin to implement and adopt it. So that's another opportunity. The opportunities are numerous, but I just wanted to just name a few for us so that we can research more about it. And so my final slide is, how are we preparing for the future? We need to first understand AI and blockchain basics. If you are in a room full of builders and innovators who are building in AI and blockchain, you really need to understand what the systems are in order for you to prefer the legal solution. And for now, while there isn't that much regulation within the space, you will need to conform to the traditional regulations and then now use best practices and global standards to create legal frameworks within the gray areas, that you have while you're practicing as a lawyer. You need to stay updated on ethical and legal developments. How do you do this? We've had a few internships, like this one that you're on, doing courses, Coursera, Udemy. There are so many available opportunities, watching YouTube, listening to podcasts, reading articles, writing articles. There's so many opportunities, even joining communities. There's a level of theory and then there's a level of practical. You need to mix both. So you study and read and understand, and then you begin to implement by immersing yourself in the community. So Discord is a really great place to find communities in, for instance, Web3, crypto, blockchain, even in AI. A lot of Discord communities educate you on these things. So Telegram is another one. There are several communities that you can follow, interact, network with people, and you just begin to learn from people. LinkedIn is another one. You should be following hashtags. You should be connecting with people on LinkedIn and the like. So there are various opportunities, and you can do certifications as well. Although I don't really recommend going out to do the certifications immediately. You build towards that. So once you start with the free courses, you can then build yourself up towards a point that you are now paying, for a proper certification course. Embracing tech tools to enhance legal practice. Prof talked about this as well. You need to leverage the technology, try the tools out. Ridwan has given us some examples of websites as well and tools that we can use. You can go online and use the ChatGPT, use Gemini, use Cloud, all of these AI systems, begin to use them. And there are several other tech tools that you can use. You can even ask ChatGPT, what are the tools that I need, and be more specific with prompt engineering. It will create, a great tech tool roadmap for you if need be. And there are opportunities for young lawyers to specialize in tech law and contribute to shaping Nigeria's legal framework. Join associations in your school. If you finish school, in the regular Nigerian Bar Association has different kinds. There's NBSBL Technology Committee. There are several. And right now, because the world is a global village, you can even join associations anywhere in the world. As far as they're accepting students, their fellowships, there's so many opportunities now. You just need to go out there and find them. And I'm just going to recap on the key points. Ethical challenges are real, but we can manage them through different tools and processes like we've mentioned. Emerging technologies offer so many opportunities for the legal profession. You just need to go out there, do a lot more research, and you'll find several areas you can function in. Nigerian lawyers have a role to play. Prof talked about this as well. You need to get engaged. You need to be part of the communities, part of the discussion, part of the writing. At a point, once you've learned a lot and you understand within the space, you need to start writing articles, you need to start contributing and participating in working groups, think tanks and the like, so that you can begin to impact the ecosystem as a whole. So the final thing is, the call to action for us to embrace the change of AI and emerging technologies, for us to stay curious and for us to actually be part of the solution. Don't just stand at the sidelines, be part of the solution. So that's just all for me today. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great to be here and I look forward to the rest of the session. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much for that very wonderful and insightful presentation from your end. It was really, really nice hearing you break down the topic for today. So we're moving on with the rest of the class. We will be having presentation from the mentees. So I think we have two groups. I kindly apologize on behalf of the groups. They were unable to submit on time for it to be sent to the mentors for their review. but we'll make sure that ahead of the next class, our mentors receive the presentation early on so that they can review it prior to the class. But irrespective of that, we'll be taking presentation in class. Do we have the presenter for group 1? Please, you can go ahead, share your slides. 7 minutes for your presentation. We'll take your presentation and then move to group 2's presentation, and then we'll have feedbacks from our mentors. Do we have the presenter for group 1 in class? Okay, Mr. Akinsola.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Akinsola. We hear you.
Okay. Please, I just want to share my slide. Can you all see my slide?
Not yet.
Can you all see my slide?
No, not yet, not yet.
Wow. What about now?
Okay, your screen is currently sharing. Yes, we can see your slide. Or we can see your screen,
Okay.
right?
All right, what about now? Can you all see my slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. Good afternoon, everyone, mentors on board, the organizers of this program, and my dear fellow mentees. It is an honor that I will be presenting for Group 1 Artificial Intelligence Group. The topic before that, my name is Kinshala Bugani Alawu, and then our research topics based around the introduction to AI and the emerging technologies, upon which we will be dwelling much on the emerging technology. Earlier before now, we all know that artificial intelligence is rapidly evolving the digital landscape, whereby artificial intelligence is a transformative technology, or let's say is a transformative force that is revolutionizing the industries, redefining the way we do things, the way we live, the way we work, and the way we interact with ourselves. And then as we stand, it is very paramount to say that the 14th Industry Revolution, AI has a vital role in the world in carving the shape and the collective system of the future. So, as you can know that here in Nigeria, although there are body of regulation, most especially the NITDA, that is the National Information Technology Agency, who sees to contribute to the enabling of the development of the national national artificial intelligence policy. Was it not as at 2023, that is March 2023, they came up with some drafted copy of what's it called of the regulation that a roadmap. Let me just be like a roadmap that provide it's just like a roadmap that gives a framework to support the ethical AI integration in the system. But later on, we see that the Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, that is the FMCID, later on within that year, was it not around August, they also released an expanded version of the drafted copy of the NITDA, whereby they see that there is need for we to ensure that this roadmap have a robust framework that will support the ethical and responsible use of AI intelligence and the launch of Nigeria as a global leader in the AI space. So, as I said, that we will be very boiling much the most on emerging technology, and it was even said by Barrister Buki that we're talking about emerging technology, definitely we are referring to technologies that are emerging, ranging from blockchain and the like. So as such, we'll be moving discussing about understanding a decentralized finance, that is DeFi. So when I'm talking about DeFi, so DeFi on its own, it leverages on what's called on the blockchain like Ethereum, automation, and securing transaction. Yeah, that is it's more or less like intermediary free ecosystem for financial services. So it is very mandated that the DeFi rely on a smart contract which automate and secure transaction, whereby the Ethereum on the other side is the dominant blockchain for DeFi due to its marginality. At the time goes, if you can look far back, especially earlier last year or late last year, you will see that the rates upon which transaction we are recording an inflow and outflow of the transaction has gone beyond, I think, something we can approximately run up to around $100 billion. So you can see that this DeFi protocol can just be what's called being remarkable, like changing the curve, changing the what's called the narrative of the finance transaction in the globe. Also, when I'm talking about the protocol that is governing decentralized finance, definitely we say that okay, this protocol on its own can be divided into the likes of decentralized exchange, lending platform, derivative, yield aggregation, and then many more of it. So it is very paramount to say that what's God, this DeFi as a pioneer force, it stands as the pioneering force, reimagining the financial sector and its applications. So we can say as DeFi keeps on maturing, its ability to address the technical, the economic, we are looking forward to in the near future on how long-term viability it will stand in the system. And more so,
Okay, Mr. Akinsola, it seems you were having a little challenge with your network. Please, if you are still with us, if you are still with us, please can you go ahead and continue with your presentation? Miss Mr. Akinsola, are you with us?
wow, sorry, I muted myself. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
What about my screen? Can you still see my screen?
No, we can't.
Okay. Just give me some second, please. How about now?
Yes, we can see your screen again.
So as I was saying that with the rising of the emerging technologies, most especially in this regard, the cybersecurity is becoming increasingly sophisticated. And then when I'm talking about, this cybersecurity of the thing, is trying to address key core areas. We're talking about ranging from identity in the sense that the potential risks and the vulnerability of people that are into the internet. And also it's trying to low core function and the protection, implementing the measure to prevent cyber attack. And then it's looking at the detect that is, let me say, dictate and the identity of cyber threats in the in the real life, the way we are most being voluntary on the being being valuing ourselves in the internet as such. The essence of what's called the cybersecurity. It comes on board in order to to detect and identify and order to protect us against all these the cyber attack. And also the one of the core function of the cybersecurity is looking forward to, like, let's say something like respond to what's going to detect a cyber threat, and also to recover from from any cyber attack. So, like we said, cybersecurity is just comes on board to play some role in such as safeguarding our personal data, enhancing our productivity, preserving our reputation, and also strengthening the cybersecurity posture, and also, of course, building a trust and what's called and credibility. So it is very, very important that the second cybersecurity, as we have seen today, is confronted with varieties of challenges ranging from malware, the complexity of the bad day, and then, of course, the insider, and then amidst other. So, and then very, very, the emerge of this cybersecurity is a critical component of protecting our digital assets. By understanding the importance, of cybersecurity, implementing its robust security measure, we can be able to mitigate risks and maintain trust, privacy, and digital resilience. Among the emerging technology we are also going to be discussing is the augmented reality and the virtual reality. So, as you know that these are transforming in various industries and revolutionizing in a way that we interact with the world. Now, let's take a look at augmented reality. When I say that AR, let's say, AR is more or less like something that overlay digital information onto the real world and enhancing like, let's say, surroundings by adding a visual element. Like, for instance, now let's say a virtual trying on, and it, like, let's say, immersive gaming experience, a gaming experience that shows a visuality of what they are doing. So, as we have it here, you can see that augmented reality enhance the real world by overlaying digital information onto it using sensory stimulus like visual, auditory, and haptic feedback. But on the other hand, that is the VR, the virtual reality. We say it creates a completely stimulated environment, immersing user in the digital space. So, the application of this, both the augmented reality and the virtual reality is just it to come and mechanism in our educational system, our retail and marketing system, even though inclusively the gaming system of a thing. So, in the aspect of the educational system, we can say a way whereby learners will be able to interact, having a learning experience interaction by ensuring a visual field trips and enhancing a visual engagement even across the globe outside of their nationality. So the same thing occurs towards to the healthcare, whereby they can be able to have what's called medical training, or let's say means and mechanism of diagnosing from here and other. But also there are some of these challenges that confront with these tools we are arranging about, especially in the aspect of its cost and its accessibility. In the cost, whereby we are seeing that in securing all this, there are the high-end devices and are very expensive. So, and then whereby also, and of course, there is distinctive difference between the AR and the VR. Where we say the AR uses the real world settings, while we can say that what the virtual reality is like something completely virtual, something totally on a visual base of a thing. And also you can say, AR is something like control their presence, something that controls one's presence. Whereby you can say VR is like a control label, that is whereby users are able to what's it called, to control by the system, and so to control by the system in what we call the other. So we cannot say that okay, AR and VR are just a technology that are rapidly evolving with the application across various sectors, and this technology continue to what's it called, to advance in our various sectors as we speak. And of course, we also have what we call blockchain technology itself. As we know that blockchain technology has evolved beyond its origin in what's called cryptocurrency to become a versatile tool with application across like multiple what's called industry, ranging from including the financing sector, including the healthcare sector, including the supply chain management itself, and even the governance of what's called and the governance itself. So, blockchain is like something that is what's called decentralized, that is, no central authority controls the network, and then immutability, that is, the transaction cannot be altered or be what's called be deleted. And also its security, as we are experiencing now that what's called
Mr. Akinsola, can you hear?
Typographic. Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, all right. So sorry, we were not. I don't know if I can hear you. I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. So I think maybe it's just from my end. Your network was breaking a little bit, so I just wanted to call your attention to it. And also, please, I would like to ask if it's going to be possible for you to speed up the presentation so that we can have group two's presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, even I'm almost done. The slide is even about to finish. I'm just 2 more slides to go. Or let me say 1 more slide. I hope you had that. Hello?
Yes, I had that. Please go ahead.
Okay, so as we are not talking about, as I continue that, okay, the impact of blockchain in the world across this sector is that, be it in the economic, it has made some way in our economic system, such as whereby we see that the way blockchain can help to reduce the transaction cost, increasing the financial inclusion, and enhancing transparency as you, and also do in the hours we can say one of the impact it has in our banking and financing sector, whereby the blockchain it has decentralized the financial aspects and offer an alternative means to the traditional banking system that we all know, and also secure a transaction, reduced fraud. And whereby the last part of which the emerging technology we will be discussing is what we call the the non-fungible tokens, that is the NFT. It's more or less like what we call a token that emerged as a groundbreaking technology, transformed the landscape of digital ownership, and presented new opportunity within the global economy by providing a unique method for representing ownership of digital assets, whereby, and you see that what NFT are impacting various industries and reshaping how we interact with the digital world. Let's say, the digital asset created on the blockchain representing the ownership of items like digital art, music, video, on in-game items. Each NFT possesses a unique identity code and distinguishing it from from cryptocurrency. So I think looking ahead that these NFT are expected to be integrated into more aspects for our digital life with improvement in efficiency and user experience. Ultimately, we can say that NFT have the potential to profoundly impact the global economy by creating more efficient and transparent markets, reducing fraud, and fostering new forms of investment and World Cup and crowdfunding. Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Akinsola, for that wonderful presentation from your end. Well done to you and your group for putting the presentation together. So over to Group 2. Please, can we have presentation from Group 2? The group presenter for Group 2, are you with us?
Yes, I am. I'm trying to share my screen.
Please, we can't see your screen yet. Are you having issues sharing?
I think so.
All right, please, can you go ahead and start? I'll see if I can bring up your screen.
Wait, can you see it now?
Okay, yes. Wait.
Okay. Please, can you hear me? Just to be
We can
sure.
hear you.
Okay. Hello. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ali Alaba Moyolua, the group presenter of Group 2, and I'll be talking on the convergence of AI and emerging technologies. Now, I'm pretty sure we all know what AI is, and from the lectures we've had previously, we also have an idea of what emerging technologies are. Now, if we look at our day-to-day lives, we'll see that AI has become prevalent. It is almost part of us, even to the littlest things. Like, for example, now, if for adventure you have a little headache and a little cough, some of us will just want to chat GBT and be like, what is going on? Type, and to get answers. So we see that AI has penetrated almost every aspect of our lives, and it is rapidly developing, especially after the COVID-19. It has rapidly been developing, so we can see it. Now, we are going to look at some certain areas. Number one, we're going to explore how AI and blockchain work together in creating decentralized applications. Now, when we're talking about um, blockchain, now blockchains enables us to, in simple terms, it enables us to perform activities without people knowing who you are. You become anonymous, and that is why it is used, especially during financial transactions. Those things are encoded. They don't know who you are, where you are from, your address. Everything is hidden. That this is decentralized. That is blockchain. Now, AI, when we're talking about AI and blockchain, we can say that AI enhances blockchain in various ways. Like, for example, smart contracts, especially when you look at areas like Binance. It also helps in improving fraud detection, and also it helps in optimizing the decentralized finance strategies. Like I said, it enables you to remain anonymous. It enables your finance to remain anonymous. I'm sorry, but my screen, I don't know what is going on, so I won't be able to move the PowerPoint slide, but I'm still going to continue with the presentation. Now, when we look at AI in augmented reality and VR, now imagine a world where you can see 3D generated content through the screen of your phone or through a headset. That is AR and VR. It pulls you into another a fictitious world, if I can call it that, a 3D generated world. It's a whole different world from our own reality. And we've seen it in various areas, like for example, games now, especially VR. VR has been prevalent in the area of games, especially in our today's world. Now, when we talk about AR and VR, we can say that AI has made AR and VR experiences more interactive. It has made it more realistic because it has generated adaptive environment. It has personalized user experiences. Like for example, now the example given earlier of the judge that was given a VR headset to look at a crime scene. It felt like as if he was present there. It was personalized. So, and when, like I said earlier, when you look at the application of AI in VR, it has spanned gaming. We look at education, we look at training, we look at retail, and there are so many areas that this has branched into. And another thing, so you you um when you look at it, AI, especially in the area of VR and AR, it has actually played a lot of roles. It will also even have things like virtual assistants, like for example now those with iPhones where we can say Siri or Google Assistant, where we're like, Google, please help me do this. So it is also present. That has also been integrated into VR and AR. Now, when you look at AI and cybersecurity, now due to the fact that technology has been rapidly developing in the past decade, also, various crimes has also emerged from such. We can, especially hacking, and scams, spams, phishing, malwares. There are a lot of crimes that keep on emerging, that even sometimes big corporations find it difficult to even fight these things. Like you have heard various cases, like for example, there was a case of Facebook, that a lot of people personal information were stolen by scammers. So we have these threats in place now. So how can AI optimize cybersecurity systems? Now, the number one, the number one way it can optimize um cybersecurity is number one, advanced threat detection. Now, AI can analyze network traffic. It can look at behaviors. It can see patterns that are unusual. When it notices that, okay, this particular pattern is unusual, it notices that there is something wrong and it stops such before it even actualizes. So something that we as humans may not be able to detect, those littlest of things that we may not be able to detect. AI is able to detect it and know that, oh, there is a problem here, and stop it before it actually actualizes. Now, also when you look at area of spam, phishing, and all those, now I don't know if anyone has noticed it, but when you look at your Gmail, for example, now, there are some messages that it will place in the spam box. That is the work of AI. It's not that, okay, though sometimes it may not be, sometimes I have had cases where like the wrong messages were placed into the spam box, but the AI noticed that, okay, this link in this particular message sent is wrong, is suspicious, rather than not use the word wrong. It is suspicious. It it notices that something, okay, this message is fishy, and because of that, it puts it in the spam box. So that is another way it has helped with our security. Even like for example, now another example is, for example, Truecaller. There are some clients that have received especially, I don't know if anyone has also experienced these calls from MTN, calls from Okash, calls from people that like spam calls. I will just pick it up. I'm like, hello, hello, have you sorry, would you like to subscribe for OCAS? We have this loan, this, and I'm like, what the heck? I don't want to subscribe to, I don't want to borrow. And because of that, I downloaded Truecaller. And when I downloaded Truecaller, it helped me to block all these spam calls. So that is another um way it can optimize cybersecurity. It has also optimized cybersecurity through machine learning for malware detection. It's AI, like I said before, it analyzes files, and if peradventure it detects um, something in that file that seems to be a malware, that seems to be a virus, it can, at the end of the day, block such. So, in conclusion, we can say that AI convergence with these emerging technologies is greatly reshaping our digital world. It has unlocked various and new possibilities, but it has also introduced challenges, ethical challenges, like, for example, the protection of our data. How is our data being protected? What laws are there to even protect our data? And at the end of the day, we realize that responsible development and governance are crucial to ensuring that, okay, this AI, these advancements benefit society while maintaining our trust and security. The future of AI is the future of AI innovation. It holds limitless potential, and we must embrace it responsibly to build a smarter, more connected, and digital world. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Moin. Thank you so much for that presentation from you and your group. We do appreciate the effort you put into the presentation, and also the work your team members put into getting the slides ready. But I would like to kindly plead with the groups that ahead of next week's class, the topic for the next week, for the coming week, will be sent to the group today, before the end of today. Please pay attention to the group, to the topic and your research, so that submissions or the work itself can commence on time, and then it will be ready before the submission dates, so that our mentors can get a copy of your work, review it while you are also doing presentations in class. So thank you, please, as you comply with that instruction. Currently, we just have one mentor in class, Mr. Ridwan and Professor Francesco took their leave because of they had other engagements on ground. But we still have Barrister Buki here with us. We would like for her to give feedbacks, and then we'll take questions from the mentees. So Barrister Buki, over to you, Ma. Do you have any feedback for our mentees based on the presentation?
Yes, I wanted to stay back, and I tried to get as much as I could from the presentations. I think for group one, very good presentation. I like the fact that you divided the emerging technologies areas into, sub headings, covering NFTs and slightly digital ownership, which is tokenization. You covered XR, you covered DeFi, you covered a lot of areas. So that's good, so that it helps to know that you understand the ecosystem, and understanding how the ecosystem is set up is a very fundamental aspect of learning, within AI and emerging technology. So that was really good. And you took some cues as well from the mentors and mentioned that in your presentation. So well done to the group. And for group two, I like the fact that you brought in cybersecurity, because in the emerging technologies and AI, data privacy and cybersecurity is quite important, which is the reason why most of us that practice in the area actually do practice in cybersecurity and data privacy. So that aspect was good. And then giving examples of well, I won't say the risk, but some of the downside or cons of fraud and spams and things that happen in that ecosystem. That was really good. So well done to everyone all around. A lot more learning. They say it's like a rabbit hole. Once you open one door, 11 more open up for you. So a lot more opportunity to do more research for all of you. Well done.
All right, thank you so much, Mark, for that feedback from your end. Right about now, we'll be taking questions. So please, throughout the course of the research and also the session, if you have any question you would like to ask, Barrister Buki is here to help answer questions. So please, we would like to take questions. We'll take, I think, about 2 or 3 questions before calling it a day in class. So please, do we have questions from the mentees? If you have questions, please can go ahead. Okay, Mr. Joseph, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Okay, thanks a lot, Ma, for the section. And I also thank all the speakers that actually impacted a great source of knowledge to us. My question is basically on the aspect of the laws that you mentioned that was guiding AI. So probably I would like to have the presentation, maybe if it can be shared to the group as well. Then my question is, which I think I didn't hear that part correctly, where you mentioned that euros, I think for European Union, but there was none, let's say for Nigeria or maybe Africa or something. So like which one can we actually focus on? Because it's not, I don't think it's possible that we can be reading, though you say we should read articles, and but those laws that you mentioned, which one do you think is more substantial to like grab the content in it?
Okay, thank you. EU AI Act is the most robust one of the regulations because they've gone ahead to create and draft a regulation that's guiding AI across the European countries. So that's the most robust one. And that one, you will need to familiarize yourself with it. Apart from that, and then because the GDPR, the NDPA is drafted after the GDPR, so a lot of people anticipate that if we are going to have an act, an AI act in Nigeria, it will have some semblance with the EU AI Act. So that's the reason why it will be necessary for you to familiarize yourself with that. Also, you can familiarize yourself with the frameworks because a lot of areas don't have regulation. The best practices and frameworks are the ones guiding the industry at this point in time. And so that's the NIST framework. I'll send the slides over so that you can see some of those regulations. You can just search. So the NIST framework is very important for AI. And then you can generally even just type in AI fellowships. If you type in AI fellowships, a lot of them list out the relevant AI regulations that you need to familiarize yourself with. I mentioned the UNESCO recommendations as well. OECD as well has some principles. So you just look for global best practices or global standards for AI. And then you can check the ISO as well. And then now, marry that to the EU AI Act. For Nigeria, like I mentioned, we have the National AI policy. So you can read that up. You can look for policies across the African continent as well. A number of the African countries have AI, their AI policies or an AI framework. So those would be the places you would start. And then from there, you can read a lot more. I hope that helps.
Thank you so much, Mark, for helping with that question. I hope Joseph was clear. Okay, I can see you in the chat box. All right, so please, Chinoso, right? You said you have a question. Please, you can go ahead and ask.
Okay. Okay, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So my question is based on the blockchain smart contracts. So my question is, because I really don't have a full understanding of I know I've read about it based on when we were doing our research, but I want to understand when you say smart contract, because what I understood from what I read was that it is like is self-imposed, Abi. it is self-executed, let me put it that way. So I want to know, what does it really entail? What is it all about? When you say smart contract, what are they? Is it just in the blockchain space that we have this, or in the digital world that we have this word called smart contract, or it's cut across these other areas? So I just wanted to know what's the full detail of it when it has to talk about the issue of smart contract. Thank you.
Yes, so like you said, a smart contract is a self-executing process. We call it Turing complete, that it starts on its own and then ends, with an event or a condition fulfilled. It's basically coding. That's what a smart contract is, coded on the blockchain. And what it does is that it gives an event or a condition, and then once the event is executed or the action is complete, it self-executes. So I always use the example of using an Uber to enhance this for people to understand. So you can create an autonomous vehicle, could use a smart contract. The vehicle is to pick you up at the airport and drop you at Victoria Island. So once you enter into the Uber, this autonomous means self-driving. So once you enter into the Uber, you enter your details, you shut the door. Once the door shuts, it has your wallet details. The contract is to take you to Victoria Island, and once it takes you to your destination and you alight and you shut the door back, the contract would then execute. So it picks you up at the airport, it drops you at Victoria Island at the specific address that you've requested. Once it drops you and you have alighted and you have clicked on, getting to your destination, it will automatically take, I don't know, maybe let's say 5,000 naira out of your wallet. But in this case, maybe because it's a wallet, it would be a cryptocurrency of some sort, maybe USDC or something. So that's what a smart contract is. And this can be applied across different industries. It could be a legal service that you are obtaining. Once your wallet is attached, you can, enter. The developers will design the smart contract in such a way that the conditions are listed in the contract. So it's a traditional contract because it has an offer, there is acceptance, there is consideration as well, and there's intention to complete or intention to enter into a contract between the parties. So it's under the law, it's a valid contract between two people. And there are various examples, that we can give for that. So the developers will enter in the conditions. A lot of people say that smart contracts will replace the need for lawyers. However, I beg to differ because there are certain conditions that some people may not impute into the smart contract that may need to be there. So if you are a novice and you don't have certain clauses or conditions in the smart contract, it might leave a lot of loopholes. So that's what a smart contract is. And we could give different examples, but that's, the basics. And again, with smart contracts, some are more complex than others. Some could be between two people. It could be a consortium between different parties. It could be hybrid, where part of it is physical and part of it is, virtual. So there are so many angles, that you can play to smart contracts, but that's basically what it is. Thank you.
Sorry for, but I was just one wrap up to the question.
Okay.
Is there any law that regulates smart contracts?
Specifically, no. It's just right now we're using regular contract law, and then for Nigeria, regular contract law, and then Evidence Act, which states that an electronic signature is valid. So that's what we're currently using. But hopefully, maybe when we can get our own regulation within the space, like a equivalent of MiCA, MiCA, which is in the European Union. If we have something like that in Nigeria, then that will further validate smart contract. But for now, under the law, it's a valid contract. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ma, for helping us with that question. Please, we'll be taking one more question. Do we have any other person who has a question? And then we'll call it a close on class. Do we have any other question before we call it? Okay.
Hello, good
Peter,
afternoon. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone.
good afternoon.
Thank you, dear moderators. Thank you, Barrister Buki. All right, so my question is regarding artificial intelligence. So someone was saying that, okay, I was in court a few days ago, and then a particular lawyer actually did a lot of his research on using AI, which the judge actually noted that young counsel, you're picking up an AI job, an AI work to bring to court, because this does not have your intelligence into it. How was he able to determine that the lawyer never had his intelligence into it? By saying that everything written there is not emotional appealing. I don't know how to express this. And so he said he had to stand down the matter and told them, give them another date to come back. So I'm now asking, is the AI not going to be a disadvantage to the legal profession, where we do not want our brain to work more, rather we want to commit everything to AI to just help us out in everything? Because I want to believe that this lawyer may not have workers in his office. Maybe he's just starting up and may not have workers who help him in other jobs, and yet he's the one that combines everything for himself. So is the artificial intelligence to the legal profession not of a disadvantage, more to an advantage, using this scenario I mentioned? Thank you.
All right, thank you for that question. So, a couple of aspects. The first thing is, we say when you are using AI, don't pick up what has been given to you and use. You have to add your creative element to it. And this is because part of the risks of AI is that it will decrease the intelligence of humans, unfortunately, but this is part of it. Because the more you use AI, the more reliant you are on AI. It's just like, try to imagine you misplace your phone. You feel, previously if a person misplaced their phone, it wasn't a big deal. But these days, if you misplace your phone, it's like they've sliced off part of your being, because you function. The phone is an extension of you. Your calls are there, your banking details, everything, So it's a lot more, you are a lot more attached to it. And this is the way AI will become. The more we use it, the more reliant we will be on it. And as far as now, it hasn't started doing physical tasks for us, but robotics is already getting there, where we will begin to have robots, do certain things for us. So that's one part, which is the AI risk and, the constant use of AI reduce. I know there was a time last year that ChatGPT went down for, I think it was 48 hours. A lot of people felt at a loss because they were using it so much for their documentation that without having access to it, they were a bit disabled for the meantime. Then regarding the judge, there's what we call AI detection software. So a lot more of us use AI detection software. So once a person sends you a document, you generally impute it into a detection software, and then you're able to see how much percentage has been generated by AI. So a lot of lecturers are using that. A lot of, I guess, judges, a lot of people who are in a position to receive a lot of documentation. Now, is it compulsory that your work should not have AI? For certain things, you can get away with using AI, but for other things, like maybe, I guess, case material, the judge may want the lawyers to actually think through the cases and come up with their own details, as opposed to just spitting it into or imputing it into AI and taking what it has given them. So I want a lot of people that be careful with your AI use, because whoever you're submitting the documents to can also easily use AI detection software. So now, regarding, will AI impact the legal profession negatively? It depends on who is using it. Some people won't use it well, and it will reduce their creative intelligence. And some people will use it well, and it will, make them a powerhouse where they're able to use the technology properly, and benefit from the use of it. So it depends on who. And for organizations, that's why we say, you need to create AI governance frameworks within your organization to guide employees on how they can use AI. There are limits with AI, because if you leave everything for the staff or employees of an organization, they may get out of hand with it. So you need to put those safeguards, some guardrails regarding the use of AI within your, for instance, a law firm, so that clients or judges are not beginning to complain about the quality of work that is coming out from your law firm, as an example. So I hope that helps. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you so much, Mark, for helping us with that question. So far we've come to the end of today's class. I'm sure from my own end, it was a very interactive and very interesting class. At least I got to learn quite a lot. And I want to promise that this is just the very beginning. We have so much lined up for you, and our mentors are also ready to share the very best from their professional point of view, based off of their exposure to this environment and this space. They will be able to help answer questions, give us insights that is not necessarily within the common space where you can just easily search out for information. They will be able to do justice. So sit back and prepare. We have so much coming for you in the next couple of weeks as you carry on with the program. Thank you so much, Barrister Buki, for being here with us. Thank you so much for your time and your presentation, also for helping us answer questions. We are really, really grateful. Just before we go for today, we would like to just take a quick screenshot of today's class. So please, I would like to kindly ask for us to kindly turn on our video. Yes, I have my video turned on one of my devices while I'm talking through another device. So please, if you can turn your video so that we can take a quick screenshot and then we'll call it a day. All right, thank you, Pina. Thank you. Sorry, 1 minute. Thank you, Fina. Thank you, Oni. Thank you, Japi. Sorry if I didn't pronounce your name very well. Yes, thank you so much. Can we have more mentees comply? Thank you. All right. Okay, one more picture. All right, thank you so much. We are done with the pictures. We've officially come to the end of this class. I look forward to seeing you in the next class. Kindly pay attention to the tasks that will be sent into your group for ahead of next week's tasks. Make sure to do your research, conduct your research on time, right, and submit on time, so that, like I said earlier, our mentors can be able to review what you have done, and then based off of that, also try to tailor their presentation in line with the work that you have done. So we look forward to seeing you in the next class. Everyone, do have a lovely day, and bye-bye.